Long way, get this shit a long way, shit a long way. Long way, hit it long way, 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 shit long way, long shit long way, long way, long way, long way, long way, long way, shit a long way. Gotta get the shit a long way, get the shit a long way, finish rich, yeah. Gotta get the shit a long way, get the shit a long way. She don't really understand, man. Gotta know what she don't really understand, man. Gotta get a meal, but she don't understand. She be tripping every day, she be tripping every way. But I gotta get this shit a long way, yeah. Tryna get money every single way, tryna get money every single day, yeah. Get money every single way, every day. Every day we gotta get paid, yeah. Every day we gotta get paid, yeah. I'm feeling like we be a new slave. No, we gotta finish rich. No, we gotta finish rich. Got a new bitch, she don't understand rich. She don't understand, she gotta get rich. She don't understand, sometimes we gotta hit lit. No, we ain't hit lit. Tryna get the long way, yeah. Tryna get this shit the long way, yeah. Coach is tryna wrap up an entree, yeah. Told you the other day that did my phone strong. We gon' shoot the long way, we gon' get the long way, yeah. Get the shit the long way. My bitch be tripping back and forth like a phone way. My name is Tari, I ain't playing games, so I'm done Tari. Yesterday she told me that she about to leave, I said fuck it bitch, we gonna get some money. I said fuck it bitch, I'm about to get some money. So what I do today, I went and got some money, yeah. Cause we gon' get this shit the long way, we gon' get this shit the long way, yeah. Back and forth like a phone way, yeah. Man, I'ma get this shit the long way, get this shit the long way. Just the only way today, because they go with shit's crazy. We gotta wear a mask, we the new slaves, and we be wearing this shit like every day. We be okay, we gon' be okay, they gon' be okay, they gon' be okay for me, yeah. So we gon' get this shit the long way, 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 yeah, we get shit the long way, yeah. Cause we gon' be okay, we gon' be okay, yeah. We gon' get the long way, yeah.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Savings Minus Debt. I'm LJ, your host, the founder of SMD, and I am simply here to share my gift with you. I understand that there's a psychological piece to capitalism. I just discovered that. Yes, I did. Just discovered it. Now, discovery means that it was already in place, okay? That means I didn't design it. So I just want to make sure there is a clear distinction between those two, because that must be said, okay? So it was already here. I just found it, all right? Now, with knowing that, I understand now that no currency exists for debt slaves, none, because you guys are the currency. It's you. Everything is you. You're the taxes. You're the paper money. You're the gold, silver, diamonds, whatever exotic earth-made crystal there is. It's all you, okay? It doesn't, the only value is just you. Now, I was once a debt slave, and debt slaves are people that believe they own things with no money of their own. That's a debt slave. People that believe they buy houses with mortgages, buy cars with car loans, invest in the stock market and retirement plans while having student loan debt. Those are debt slaves. That was me. I was once that way. I was a six-figure earning debt slave. That was me. Okay. Discover Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey basically says, take the calculator and his baby steps and get out of debt. And that's what I did. Until I reached one point in his baby step where he says, hey, when you get down to your mortgage, start putting away 15% into retirement. Anything outside the calculator is considered psychological. Okay. Anything outside the realm of the calculator is purely psychological. Whatever you believe it is after that point is on you. Okay. Because the calculator says anything past me doesn't exist. So it's all psychological. Anyway, once Dave said that, start putting away 15% into retirement, I knew you couldn't do that. So that's where I left, because you cannot invest into retirement. You have no money to invest into retirement while having a mortgage. I knew that. That's where I left. That's called, anything outside of that is called business. That's where I leave. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing evil about it. That's called business. That goes on every day. You better get you some. All right. So on and so forth. I kept going and going and going until I finally discovered there's simply a psychological piece to capitalism. Now, if you make six figures up to $1 billion and you don't know there's a psychological piece in capitalism, you need to come see me ASAP. You need to come see me quickly. And the reason why I start with six figures, because in order to at least make six figures, you have to have some sort of ambition built inside of you to make six figures. And I know this because I did it myself. I knew in order to at least make six figures, I had to have some sort of drive to do it. And once I achieved it, that's where things started clicking, because that's what really started waking me up. Because when you're in debt, all you hear from video makers and podcasters, hey, you're not somebody until you make six figures, then you're somebody. That's what they subconsciously put in your brain, thinking that six figures is some sort of a lot of money. But the reason why they use six figures, because very, very few of you debt slaves ever reach that figure. So they make it sound like it's something. Once I arrived at this so-called six figures, it didn't feel like what everybody trying to make it, what it should feel like once you make six figures. I got there and I'm like, okay, now what? What happens here? I work my job until I'm 65 and then I retire. That's what happens with making six figures. I was like, no, thank you. I didn't realize though I was making six figures, I was triple that in debt. So I didn't own anything. I was totally upside down in the business of myself. You know how you can get upside down in a car when you owe more money on the car than what the car is worth? I was upside down on myself making six figures, but $300,000 in debt. That's called upside down in business of myself. If I'm upside down in the business of myself, any physical business outside of myself cannot make any mathematical sense at all. It never, ever. If you want to listen, and I want to make sure this is crystal clear, and especially the people that make money. I want you to listen to my voice, okay? And see if you hear some kind of any fluctuation of anything. If you want to be one of the best in the financial game in the world, you need to come see me ASAP. If you don't know there's a psychological piece in capitalism, you need to come see me and I'll make you one of the best in the world. And I'm telling you how I'll do it. I will show you that there's a psychological piece in capitalism. If you're making millions of dollars right now and you don't know there's a psychological piece in capitalism, you need to come see me ASAP. I will make you one of the best in the world, 100% legally. Legal. Everything's legal. Everything. Down to the penny, illegal. That's what I'm talking about. Down to the penny legal. All parts in the financial game know exactly what you're doing. They all know. Everybody's numbers match in every single department involved. And it will be crystal clear. You got to understand, the people that do that are very rare. You'll be one of those people. The IRS, whatever department, your local city government or whatever, they will all know that you understand there's a psychological piece in capitalism. Why? All your numbers will match in every single department. How many people you think do that? Not many. All you got to do, if you come across my channel and you're listening to me speak, and you're probably thinking, well, who is he and who do you think he is? He doesn't have a finance degree. That's called ego. Remove that. That's getting away from you listening to me. All I'm talking about is the calculator. That's all I'm talking about. Once you understand what I'm talking about, you will hire those people with those degrees, but that person that works for you, they will know the psychological piece in capitalism. And those are the people that will be doing your business taxes and your accounting. Only the people that understand this. Those are the only people that will be doing it. You know how, say like you make millions of dollars, you're probably so worried about who's handling your money. Are they ripping you off? Maybe they're taking too much. I don't really understand it. You come to see me. Listen, if you come to see me, I will eliminate that problem. I will help you eliminate that problem, that thought out of your brain 100%. I will show you how to do that. I will show you how to make sure any piece that is handling your business finances, those people will know what to do and not to do. So you won't have to worry about is somebody stealing from you financially. I will eliminate that. I will help you eliminate that. I swear to you, that's why this financial firm, tax firm, this accounting firm keeps popping in my brain for some reason. Keeps coming back. If you own a business and you just cannot figure out where the money is going, you need to come see me. I will help you figure that out very easily. It doesn't matter the level of your business. It doesn't matter how small it is. And it's showing the fuck don't matter how big it is. I can help you solve that problem. If you're becoming some type of, hell, if you even one right now, if you're some kind of professional tax person, a lawyer, a professional accountant, professional something, and you don't know there's a psychological piece in capitalism, you need to come see me ASAP. If you enjoy what you do and you want to be the best in the game, come see me. I will show you the psychological piece and you'll be like, what the fuck? What? Then you'll come over to, because there's 4 parts: positive, negative, physical, psychological. There's 4 parts. I help you understand the psychological part and I'll bring you to the positive side. And then you're going to turn around and say, oh, that's how it works. Yep. Yep. That's exactly how it works. So taxes are not bad. Nope. They help you build wealth. They don't take away wealth. They help you build. You're going to be like, what? You mean I don't have to be scared of the IRS or IRS agents? Or no, no. I teach you how to follow all the laws and the rules. And when you do that, guess what? They don't bother you. If you're following the laws and the rules down to the T, and they so happen to audit you, you'd be like, why are you auditing me? I don't get it. My number's been matching your numbers every single year. Why would you audit me? No, they wouldn't. Because you're following the rules. It's no different than knowing the rules of a football game. You know, you can't grab somebody's mask and pull it down. You get 15-yard penalty. So if somebody went out on the field and said, hey, I don't care if you can't grab anybody's mask, I'm going to continue to do it. Guess what? They're going to kick you out of the game. So if you are born in the United States of America in capitalism, and you come down and say, hey, you're born here and it says, hey, these are the tax laws. Don't fuck with this one. What's that? That's called tax evasion. You can go to prison for that one. And you just said, hey, I don't care what they say. I'm going to do it anyway. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to kick you out of the game by putting you in prison. That's the same thing. Each time you listen, if you go into a football game and each time you face mask somebody, what you gonna turn to the referee and say, "Hey man, I didn't know you couldn't face mask. I didn't know that." The referees, everybody in the stadium will look at that person like they're bananas. What? You don't know there's no face masking. You think how long are you gonna be in the game before you're pulled? That's the same thing with the system. You start committing tax evasions, the IRS agents are the referees. They send them in the game. They say, "Hey, go get that fool, man. He's fucking it up. Get him." You can't do that. You got to remove that person. Then they're gonna get you, kick you out the game. It's the same thing. You know, if you got feelings, like if you have listen, especially if you make money, millions, billions, hundreds of thousands, and you got some feelings about taxes, there lies the problems. What are you having feelings about a thing for? And when you have feelings like a fear, like think about it this, you own a business, right? And you're in fear of getting audited by the IRS. Okay. You're like, oh my God, I'm in fear. They might come. Okay. First of all, okay, if you don't pay your taxes, are they going to come kick your ass or something? Are they going to come beat you up? Are they going to come break your legs or something? No, that's a psychological fear. The only thing your fear is losing your freedom, fear of losing your freedom. But you got to take a step back. Well, why are you in fear? Have you not been paying your taxes or something? What, have you been ignoring the letters that they've been sending you or something? I don't get it. You forgot you forgot as you run your business. You forgot that you're supposed to pay taxes. Where does the fear come in? It keeps coming back to you. It's you that is not participating right. Because when you understand how it works, listen, this is how it really works. I'm gonna bring you to the positive side of the economy. When you understand how it works, you're no longer paying. If you're a business owner, you're no longer paying taxes. You're passing them to the IRS. Just like you're taking them from the debt slaves because it's not your money. Somebody bought something and the tax was added. You collect it and then you pass it to the IRS. You don't get to make your money and keep their money. You have to pass the taxes. That wouldn't even make any sense. Would you just think you get to keep both? That would fuck everything up. No, you can't do that. Once you understand that on the positive side, you're like, oh shit, I'm not supposed to, check this out. I never even thought that when I was a debt slave. As a regular worker, I didn't think that. What's up, Geek Surgeon, Luminoff, Nick? I'm sorry, but I cannot pronounce your name. Hello, watching from the UK. Your message really hit when you said debt slaves pay interest on their taxes. Yes, they do. I always knew debt was bad, but didn't consider this. I think you said on the previous stream, if you're young enough, then you would consider a mortgage. Maybe what you said, I think you said on the previous stream, if you're young enough, then you would consider a mortgage. Maybe I have this wrong though. What's your thoughts on a 27-year-old getting a mortgage and overpaying? This is what I say about that. Okay, that's a very good question too. The only reason why I say you could accept a mortgage when you're younger, because you have time on your side, okay? And the younger you are, you probably really don't have the resources for to pay cash for a house yet. But then I honestly, and that's just because of time on your side. I strongly suggest do not get a mortgage, especially when you're young. I just wouldn't. Don't do it. But I'm saying if you really wanted to, and you had a plan, put it this way. Say like you were young enough to understand what it means to have a mortgage. If you were young enough to say, you know what? I'm going into this mortgage knowing that if I get this mortgage, I'm really not a homeowner until I pay back the bank all their money, because they're actually buying it for me. I'm going to know if I get a mortgage on this house, the sale price that I am seeing today does not apply to me, because the sale price on a house only applies to cash buyers. And now if you say all this, if you say all this stuff to yourself and you still walk into the bank and you get a mortgage, but maybe you have a 5-year plan. Okay. If you have a 5-year plan to definitely pay it off, cool. But I am against any kind of debt. I don't really care. But the benefit of that, doing it when you're young, if you did that, started, and you paid that house off in say you did it in 5 years, that means you would have paid that house off in your late 20s, early 30s, meaning that you will never have rent and or mortgage again for the rest of your life, forever. So and especially I want you to understand, it doesn't matter UK, United States, we're both capitalists, okay? It doesn't matter. There's a psychological piece in the capitalism here, and there's a psychological piece in the capitalism in UK. That's how it is. So while you living in a house with no rent or mortgage, everybody around you, millions of people, believe that rent or mortgage is just simply part of life, and you're not. That's called phantom income, because everybody around you is paying something that you're not, but they don't know that. Everybody around you with mortgages the debt slaves believe they are homeowners just like you, but they don't know you cannot buy a house with a mortgage. They don't know that. That's the plus side. $27, I would say, especially, and I'm not saying 27 is old, because when you're 27 and you're about to hit 30, don't fall into the program of thinking you're getting old because you're hitting 30. That is a program. If you keep telling yourself in your brain, oh man, I'm hitting 30, I'm getting old. Oh, then you start letting your body go, and then you start doing stuff that you're not. Hey, listen, don't fall for that program. That's a program. Put it this way. Once you come to SMD, and you understand that, once you understand the psychological piece in your all your perspective of everything changes. I'm just here to tell you that your whole entire life perspective will change. It will take a shift. It doesn't even matter how old you are, but the younger the better, because you got time on your side. That's something that nobody can get more of. Once you wake up, you'll realize this, and you'll be like, wait a minute, I'm selling 40 hours a week to the employee? Hell no. You'll say, oh no, I'm not doing none of that. And then when you see how it works, and you step on the positive side, understanding that the time in your life is the most valuable commodity on earth, that there's nothing that comes before time. You step on the positive side, and then you turn around and you see people working 40 plus hours a week, overtime, bragging about how much overtime they're working. They're like, man, they don't know they're selling the time in their life for their paycheck. In my mind, there's not enough overtime in the universe that you could give me a check for. $40+ hours a week? No, no. But this is the wonderful part about the system. Those people that are working those amount of hours, guess what? They're doing it to themselves. Paying for houses that they're barely living in, making monthly mortgage payments on houses that they're barely in, thinking that they own them. If you're working 50+ hours a week, why do you have a mortgage? Why? That doesn't even make any sense. CENTS. What's your best strategy for someone who's out of debt and get out of the rat race? Okay, that's a good question. Okay, let me tell you what happened to me. The best way I can tell you is how I did it, okay? Because to quit a job takes big balls, right? To say I quit a perfectly good job, because you've never done that. So this is what happened to me, okay? Once I got out of debt, and I'm glad the universe set this all up for me, right? When I first got out of debt, I still worked one more year at my job, but as a debt-free person, okay? And certain things happened in certain orders for me. It was the weirdest. It was just crazy, right? First, when I was driving to work, this is the year that I'm debt-free. When I was driving to work, I started paying attention to the traffic more, how long the lights were, uh, me going the same way to work every day, me automatically knowing where the potholes were and were not in the road, which light was the longer light, which way was a shortcut to get around this light and do this and that to avoid traffic. And I was like, wait a minute. I'm doing all this to get to a place that I didn't really want to go, and that was to work. And then I noticed because I was a computer engineer, VMware, and I started paying attention. When I pull up to the parking lot of my job, I would be like, okay, damn, I'm gonna be here for 8 hours. I'm gonna miss the sun. Because when I would get to work, the sun was coming up. When I was leaving work, it was going down, especially with daylight savings time. That was really horrible. And it started to bother me. It really I started feeling trapped. I would go to lunch. I used to get hour lunches, and I would take my lunch and I would not want to go back. And then one day, uh, something inside of me was like, okay, you're not interested in your career anymore, and it's time to leave. The first thing I thought when that came to my mind, I was like, oh, what am I gonna do? How I'm gonna pay my bills? This automatic trigger thing. But something stopped me and said, you don't have any of that in your life anymore. It's not there. You don't have monthly payments. Everything's paid for. You have thousands in the bank. You don't have anything to worry about at all. And then I just quit. People would ask me, hey, LJ, what are you gonna go do? I said nothing. They was like, what do you mean nothing? I said, I'm not gonna go do nothing. I didn't even know what I was saying at that time, but I knew I was supposed to go do nothing. It took me a year. Listen, it took me a year to withdraw myself from the 40-hour work week. Saturday and Sunday are special. All the holidays, the extra days off, and at the extended weekends that you get the Monday. That's all part of the program. All of that is part of even the clock. During that year I quit, I was worried like, oh my, I was getting a gap on my resume. I had to come through withdrawals. What about, they're going to ask me, how come I ain't been working in the last 2 months? They're not going to pay all this shit, all of it. 3 months, that was the hardest. Like, oh, am I making a mistake? Oh, I'm never going to make 6 figures again. Oh my God, what am I going to do? And then 6 months came, I was getting a little easier. 8 months came, I was getting easier and easier. And then once a year came, I was like, oh, hell yeah. I turned around, I was like, that was a program? Sure was, all the program. But to even see what I just told you, first you have to have the balls to quit your job. So that means you have to have no debt and money in the bank. But it's not very hard. Listen, when you have no debt, life is very easy. It's not expensive at all. I strongly suggest this. If you ever get the balls to do it, make sure you have money in the bank. You've paid for your place. You know you're good where you live. You don't really need anything. I strongly suggest, if you ever want to know what I'm talking about, you're going to have to break the program. This is how you're going to do it. First, maybe you should take a month off. If you've never taken a month of not working, start with that. Figure out what you can do to take a month off of work so you can kind of feel what it's like to not be in the rat race with all the debt slaves. They don't know that's a program. They can stop all that. They don't have to be in traffic every day. They don't have to fight with people every day. They're just in the program. They just don't know it. Once you're out, you're not going to really want to be around all that. It's it's hard to the best, and I'm doing the best way I can describe it to you, because when you're in it, you don't realize that. Yeah, you just like, what is that? What's he talking about? What do you mean? Everybody does it. Yeah, I'm sure that's what you think. And listen, when there's clearly people showing you that that's not true. Look at Elon Musk. Look at Jeff Bezos. Look at Warren Buffett. You think those guys are special or something? They're not special. They just know there's a psychological piece in capitalism. And from knowing that, they have billions of dollars because they know that piece, but you don't. That's it. They're not special. I promise you, they're not. They know that, and they're just enjoying their life, doing what they love. You don't never want to stop doing that. You see what I do right now, SMD? This is forever. I want you guys to understand that. This right here is forever. There is no, and there will be no, there is no other thing on the internet like SMD. There is nobody like me. There is nobody like me. And you probably hear me just think I'm talking shit. All you got to do is go do some research. You go find somebody like me, and then I'll believe you. You won't. That's why SMD is forever. Once you come here, that's it. That's it. There's no forgetting. And like, listen. Every video that I make will always be relevant no matter the year it's heard. Let me say that one more time so you guys can get what I'm saying. Every video that I make will always be relevant no matter the year it's heard. Go find somebody else that can do such a claim like that. I can, and I just did. What's up, Miss AB? What's up, young villain? Which say, currently getting out of debt, sold my financed car, and got rid of monthly payments. Congratulations. And I can already see family and friends perceiving this as going backwards whilst they build their life on more debt. Exactly. And this is how you got to do it. Askar, I hope I can pronounce that right? That what you're experiencing, this is what you got to you're experiencing. You're experiencing yourself leaving the debt matrix, okay? And those people are in it. Now, the debt matrix is the equal opportunity enslaver. It doesn't care your color. It doesn't care if it's family members. It doesn't care if it's your mama, daddy, black, white, orange, Chinese, Jewish. Debt is the equal opportunity slave master. And you will notice that it doesn't matter where they live. It doesn't matter. And the only thing you're going to have to say to yourself, they don't know. They're part of it. And you got to always remember, it's a choice. They're choosing to not trust the calculator. Therefore, they're choosing to be on the negative side of the economy. If you're a money maker, if you make money, if you are a professional in accounting, any kind of planning of somebody's financial life, if you are involved in taxes and you may be a tax lawyer, a tax something, and you don't know there's a psychological piece, come see me. I will help you become the best in the game. If you don't know that piece, come see me. If you don't know there's a psychological piece of capitalism, come see me. I have until October of next year. Oh, November. I have until November of next year before it's time for me to leave this job. If I stay there for another year, no idea what to expect at this point, but maybe what you said, I have until November of next year before it's time for me to leave this job. If I stay there for another year. Got it. I knew when I did, put it this way, when I worked for one more year as a debt-free person, I knew that was my last time. I knew I was going to quit. It's very different going to a job when you know you don't have to go. See, this is what it feels. This was going to happen if you become debt free and you have a job, especially if you have a job that you don't even like today. Like if you work, listen, and I want you to listen closely. If you work at a place you don't like, it's because you're in debt. That's why you work there, because people that have jobs and they have no debt, they don't work at places they don't like because they don't have to. Like when people that have no debt and they go apply for a job, they go to places they want to work at, not the places they have to work at. Check this out. Say like you are this is for all the doctors out there, okay? This is for the doctors. If you are a doctor, good at what you do, listen, good at what you do, but you're deep in student loan debt, the hospital's probably taking financial advantage of you. Because if you paid your listen, if you are a doctor very good at what you do and you get yourself out of student loan debt, you tell the hospital what you deserve. Because say like you're a doctor, but you have a pager or something, some kind of electronic device where the hospital can get a hold of you anytime they want. I'm going to translate that to you. Whatever your salary is, they own 24 hours of your life. So every minute of your life is purchased by that salary. Now, say like you're a doctor that makes $350,000 a year. Is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week worth $350,000 a year? Is that you're selling yourself cheap? Because I'm sure in the paperwork you signed, I'm sure there's nowhere in that paperwork that says they own 24 hours of your life. Because that would be illegal. So maybe you should go back and read your contract Have a legal person read your contract and say, where does it, how many hours are they paying me for this salary? That's what you need to go do. Hire a professional and say, look this over. Not you do it, them. Figure out what are they paying me the $350,000 a year for? What are they paying me for? Especially, listen, especially if you went and got, say like you work for a hospital and you told them that you're looking for some kind of student loan forgiveness. This is a business move, okay? This is nothing personal. Listen, if the hospital is taking financial advantage of you, that's called business. There's nothing wrong with what they're doing because you do it to yourself. Now, if you're very good at what you do and you come to a hospital with no student loan debt and you're very good at what you do, you tell them what you're worth and then they're going to pay you for it. And then when you tell them what you're worth, you're going to say, this is how much of the time in my life that I'm selling for this salary, not 1 minute more. And you're going to make sure they understand that. What's your opinion on the idea of diversifying your portfolio? I don't really know anything about investing. This is what I do. The only thing I do to help people, I make sure they have money to invest. Like if somebody says, say like this, young villain, say like somebody says, hey, just like you, hey, what do you do diversify my portfolio? I say, do you have student loan debt? If they say yes, I say, don't worry about it. Don't worry about that because you have no portfolio to diversify. That's what I would say. So don't even worry about that kind of stuff. It always counts on the person asking. Is the person asking, are they debt free? And say like they are. Say like they say let's do the other way. Say like the person says, yes, I am debt free. I say, check this out. Go hire a professional investor who is personally debt free. That's a requirement. You make sure the investor that is the professional licensed in the state, all that's following all the laws where he works. He's following all the laws, okay? Because he knows that's part of it. You have to follow all the laws to make it work the way it's supposed to work. And then that person, that investor will know exactly what to do with the money or whatever you're trying to do. He'll know where to put it. Shout out to every day is Sunday for the $10 super chat. Thank you very much, LJ. Hope your birthday dinner was awesome. It was. It really was. Thanks for working for the SMD family even on your birthday weekend. You are welcome. This is how it is when you do what you love. This is how it is. This doesn't even feel like work to me. I really, when people come to my channel, you guys, you come across this and you're like, damn, I've never heard anybody talk like that. I want you guys to understand that I know you're saying that. I know you're saying that. I know there's nobody like me. Do you guys? And I'm not saying that to brag. I just know that. So what are the perks of joining the SMD family? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you mean by you talking about like joining the YouTube channel? Are you talking about that? If you're talking about the YouTube channel, uh, I mean, I say things over there that I don't say in public. I'm gonna start doing more private videos for the SMD so we can share. That's what's about to start happening. Actually, is to start making more videos for the SMD family on that side, so we can share ideas and experiences with each other. That most definitely not going to be shared outside of that because it would be pointless. Because what we talk about over there, debt slaves would never understand. So it's actually just a waste of time saying it. I come over here Because, sometimes I'll be like, okay, I've had enough of just talking to debt slaves, and something keeps coming, keeps pulling me back saying, you know what, LJ, there's some people out there like that was like you. You knew something was wrong. You knew the billionaires and the wealthy knew something that you didn't know, because the debt slaves, they love to, this is what debt slaves love to do. They love to say there's one particular family hogging up all the wealth and not doing this and that. I mean, debt slaves have a million stories, a million stories. The wealthy are not doing any of that. They're not doing, they just understand that there's a psychological piece in capitalism. That's it. And if you don't know that, it's the waste of time to tell you about it. Because there's plenty of room for people that understand. Here, let me give you an example. I remember when I first moved down here to South Carolina, I remember I was driving down this particular road, and all of a sudden there was like an Aldi store built in the middle of nowhere. And Aldi's is like a smaller grocery store, okay? All of a sudden they built this Aldi's in the middle of nowhere, just right off the main highway. And every time I drove by there, I was like, why would they build a store right there? Next thing you know, about 5 years, 2 to 5 years later, guess what was built around the Aldi's? A whole entire neighborhood. That happened at a couple of Aldi stores down there. I was like, wow, that's like magic. No, that's wealthy talking to each other. I get it, totally get it. You'll do the same thing. You'll do the exact same thing. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just business. You're not going to do business with people that don't understand that there's a psychological part to capitalism. You're not going to do business with them. Anybody you do business with, step number one, you must see their personal credit report. You must know how they treat the business of themselves first. Because if they don't treat the business of themselves very well, they're sure not going to treat your business together very well. They're going to treat the finances the exact same way they do themselves because they know no different. Are you in a business now trying to figure out a way to get ahead of your competition or come up with something better or innovate an idea, but you don't know there's a psychological piece in capitalism? Come see me. I'll show you how to do it, and you will do whatever you want to do to get ahead of the competition that don't know there's a psychological piece in capitalism. And guess what else? The majority of them in the exact, say like you're in a particular area of business and there seems to be a lot of competition. Do you know about 97, 8% of them don't know there's a psychological piece in capitalism? You will blow past them. They won't even know how. They're like, how is this person doing this? They will never know. Every day says, first time doing super chat and first time pulling my credit report. Your gems of information are worth it. Thanks for changing my whole mindset. I'm on my way to millions. Exactly. You say that out loud too. If you think, listen, people, listen. If you think $1 million is a lot of money, that's a program. That's a program. If you think six figures, if you think somebody making six figures is a lot of money, that's also a program. I'm just here to tell you that that's a program. SBIV says people get so focused on explaining why they not a debt slave instead of understanding what it means, fighting for the system, psychological. It's all psychological. I want those of you that do understand what I'm saying. The majority must remain debt slaves. I want you guys to understand that. I want you guys to, you come to this channel, you're like, how come he has such few subscribers? I want you to flip it. That's how many people, you see my subscriber count? That's how many people know out of all the millions of subscribers on YouTube. That's a good thing. That should tell you, once you understand SMD, you'll be in that percentage of people. You'll be in the percentage of people that know there's a psychological piece in capitalism. So when I see numbers like that, I say, hey, you know what? That means my value is worth more, because very few people know what I know. So that means my value of what I charge can be whatever I choose, because nobody else does it. Nobody else does what I do. So that means it's worth the most. I know what I do will change your life forever. I already know that because it already has changed mine. So I already know. Just because you don't just because somebody outside of me don't believe the value of what I said is the value that it is, that's their problem. That's not my problem. That's their problem. Hey, Linnell, you charge $1,000 an hour to talk to you? Yes, I do. Oh, you're crazy. No, I'm not. What does your product do? Change your life forever and generations? That's what it does. Oh, I don't believe that. So what? I don't care what you believe. That's why I put working in quotation marks, because I know that you enjoy what you do. Exactly. I do. You can hear it in my voice. I do. I want you guys, especially you guys that follow, you know how amazing it feels to never be wrong ever? And can prove it too. And can prove it. That's just, you guys have no idea what that is. When you get on the positive side of the economy and then you look at business, oh man, you could put it this way. Okay, you business owners, let me tell you something. It's like X-ray vision. You can immediately see all the debt slaves that own a business. Immediately see them. All the fakers pretending to be this and that and have all this and that. You will immediately be able to see it. You know why? Because they don't know that there's a psychological piece in capitalism. So they're going to talk a certain way. Put it this way. Here's an example of talk a certain way so you can get it. When you hear a person talk about they own the equity in a mortgaged house, they obviously don't know that they're saying something that's mathematically not true. You cannot, listen, you cannot own the equity in a mortgaged house. You can't. But if you hear somebody say they do, they don't know there's a psychological piece in capitalism, else they wouldn't say that. If they say, hey, I bought this car on sale, and you know they're making payments, they don't know there's a psychological piece in capitalism, or else they would know you can't buy a car with a car loan. You cannot buy a house with a mortgage. You can't do that. So they obviously don't know, because they're saying it out loud in public. They don't listen. They don't know they're saying it out loud in public. That's for you to know. Millions of people, they don't know they don't own the house. They don't know that. Notice how I say this out loud? They have no idea what I'm talking about. I don't, and listen, I don't care if they don't know. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying they don't know what I'm saying. Debt slaves will come up. Oh, he's old, he's mad, he's old school, he's this and that. And it's like, why are you calling math all those names? You're calling math old? Old school. Math is old school? What does that mean? I don't even get it. Because they said 1 + 1 = 50 In the 1950s, it's just because 1 plus 1 still equals 2 in 2022. It doesn't matter. Luminol says, saying it out loud on that note, no more maybe for me. What I need to do will come to me when I'm ready. Yes. I remember when I was a debt slave, I would hear like some motivational speakers say, it's very important when you use your words and you say it out loud. The words are very important. And it's true. It is true. The words, the way you say it, if you start catching yourself, oh, maybe I'll do it. What? Okay, then why are you even talking about it? Because some people are scared to say, I will do it. That means, oh my God, I better have to know everything. No, the universe just has to know if you are serious about it first. It has to come from you first. You have to know, like, say, like you want to become a millionaire, like truly, not just because, hey, I want to buy this car and show it off to everybody. Maybe you want to become a millionaire so you can secure your generation of family, whatever, right? You have to say that. The universe is not going to put anything in motion if you don't believe it first. You have to believe it first. If you don't believe you will ever pay, like, here's another example. If you don't believe you will ever pay off your student loan debt, and you say it in your brain mentally, and you really do say it subconsciously, oh man, that thing is huge. I will never be. You're already saying it to yourself. So most likely you'll never do it because you're saying it. It doesn't even matter the amount. I don't care if you're making $40,000 a year and you have $250,000 in student loan debt. You're probably thinking there is no way I can. Okay, you keep saying it. That is true. It'll never happen. Say like that's you. Say like you make $40,000 a year and you have $175,000 in student loan debt. You're probably thinking, "Oh my God, I'll never be able to pay that off." You have to really think about what you're saying. You're saying, "Hey, for $175,000, they have just purchased me. For $175,000, I'll be paying them people for the rest of my life until I'm dead. So that means I'm purchased." And you allowed it. They didn't do nothing. Okay. I want to make sure that is clear. They didn't do nothing. You did it. What's your advice for the people who are debt free but have parents that are in debt and have mortgages? That is a very good question. Damn. Uh, shoot. I would have to. First of all, I wouldn't worry about their debt. Okay. I wouldn't worry about the debt because whatever happened dies with them. So it doesn't get passed to you and all that stupid nonsense. But as far as a mortgage, if they had, it counts on where are they at in the mortgage. Is it ridiculously upside down? Then I probably wouldn't mess with it. But say like your parents were down to the last 5 years to paying off the house, I would do something to keep it. I would do something to keep it. That's what I would do. I now cringe when people say they have bought something when it's really financed. Yes, and not yet fully out of debt, but even the process of okay, not yet fully out of debt, but even the process of getting out of debt has lifted a lot of stress from my life. Really appreciate your directness. It's that I personally needed. Excuse me. It's what I personally needed to wake up. You know, and I appreciate that too because once people get it, they realize that I'm not really being rude or mean or nothing, right? It was like, put it this way, when I first got out of debt, I came across Dave Ramsey, okay? I remember I used to always hear people, oh, Dave is so rude and mean. He's just because he's so rich and he's a millionaire. I thought to myself, I don't think he's talking like that. I don't think he's talking mean. I just think he's being direct. Hey, look at the calculator. You see that? It doesn't match this. You're in the negative. This. Okay, cool. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. He's just direct. I like direct. Get straight to the point. Stop lollygagging. Just go straight to it. All right. Just cut it open. Go. Those are the people that I'm looking for. I also want the people making millions of dollars that can put their ego aside. If you really don't know there's a psychological piece to, if you're a professional, like, and you really don't know there's a psychological piece, you need to come see me. Don't worry about how much I make. If I have more money than you, that's all ego just trying to keep you in the debt matrix. All you got to do is shut that ego up and come to me. What's up, Nick? Simply ask them to watch a video and ask them what they think. Depending on the reaction, I would adjust from there. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, send the parents the video. That would be a tough one, man. I ain't gonna lie. That's the hard part about when once you understand this the psychological piece, and then you're gonna turn around and look at the ones you love that are caught up in the debt matrix, you're not gonna be able to do anything about it. That's gonna be hard, okay? Especially people you love, because you're not gonna be able to tell them. It's gonna be like you're outside of the glass now. You gotta remember the debt matrix are the debt slaves, they're behind the glass, but they don't know that they're behind the glass. But imagine this, but the glass is only activated anytime you talk about finances and equity and home ownership. You might as well be behind the glass. They can't hear you. But if you start talking about sports and politics and Republicans and Democrats and all the other stuff that's going on in the world, then they'll be able to hear you. But as soon as you start talking about finances, you're behind the glass. They can't hear you. And it's when it's the people you love, the only thing you're going to be able to do, this is the best way. Okay, this is probably the only solution that could probably help the people you love that are trapped in the debt matrix. Make sure they can see your life is different now. Make sure they know you are always stress free. You don't take crap from a job. You only work certain hours. You're enjoying your life. You never have problems. You don't think about shit. When they see that, they'll be like, damn, what is so and so doing? Why are they what are they, man, they're just always smiling, because debt slaves don't know stress is not part of life. Debt causes stress. That debt stress is a choice. You can choose not to have stress by not having debt. Once that's removed, your whole life changes. You will realize that, wait a minute, stress is just caused by myself. You'll realize that, and then you'll realize you don't have to have it. Once you realize that, a certain type of peace will come over your life. And then you will enjoy that peace, and then you won't let anybody that doesn't have peace in their life interrupt your peace. You won't allow that anymore. That's done. It won't matter who it is. It won't matter if it's a family member, if it's your children, if it's your mom, it's your dad. It won't matter. It won't matter. You're like, oh yeah, if you love me, you won't even, because you'll reverse it. You'll be like, if you love me, you won't purposely try to disturb my peace. So I'm going to protect that. Now the debt slaves, they're not going to really understand when you start protecting your peace. That's irrelevant. It doesn't matter if they understand it or not. Anytime a debt slave tries to disturb your peace, you tell them directly. You don't listen. You don't send them a text. You don't write them an email. You get them on the phone, or you do it in person. You make sure it's very clear. It's not rude. It's not mean. You just tell them directly, so there is no misunderstandings. Say like this. Say like this. Say like uh, uh, you own yourself, and you have this peace in your life that you just don't have, and you get with somebody, the person you are, say like you get with somebody and you found somebody like, oh, I could date this person, right? This is what you would say to the person. If you fool around on me, the relationship is immediately over. There is no discussions about it. It's over. And it doesn't have to be a physical act either. I want to make sure you guys understand. You make sure the other person understands. It doesn't have to be a physical act. You could psychologically, mentally mess around on me, and the same result is going to happen. It's over. This will be clear. Now, if the person listens, maybe they will, or maybe they will not. But if the other person decides that they're going to do it anyway, then they're going to see what it means, because you're going to reiterate that when it happens. You're like, remember what I told you in the beginning? Yeah. So that means it's over. It doesn't matter how I feel about you or how you feel about me, that you're not going to do it again. I told you from the beginning that this would happen, and this is what is going to happen. Oh, we live together. We got this, that. None of that matters. It doesn't matter. It's over. And you could even be cordial with them. You will. I promise you. It doesn't have to be arguing every day. It definitely is going to be uncomfortable, because you can't just immediately move out from a place that you guys live together. But you'll figure out a way to separate yourself inside of whatever environment it is. That is a great topic, Nick. I totally agree with that. That's a SMD one, because that's kind of pointless to talk about that out here, honestly. What are some tips to make the transition from 9-to-5 worker to working for yourself more easy? Uh, just like I said earlier, get out of debt, stack your dough, for about a year. I stacked my dough for about a year of being debt free. You'll be amazing. You'll be amazed how fast your bank account stacks when you ain't got no debt. It's pretty. It'll flip your mind out, right? Once you have a comfortable amount of money in your bank account, like when you hear people say, "Hey, save at least 3 months of saving." When you ain't got no debt, you'll save a year really quick. You'll save a year's worth of money in a short amount of time. I promise you. It's pretty a year worth of backup. It's just crazy, right? Once you have a good amount. Okay, put it this way. Once you have a good amount of money in the bank, and this is just a suggestion, okay? And the only reason why I suggest it is because I did it. Now, I wouldn't tell you guys to do something that I haven't done. And I didn't know to do this, but when I quit my job, it wasn't, even though I quit, it wasn't really in my mind to say I'm not going to work for a year. It didn't work like that. It just happened to do that. And the reason why, because for the first 2 months, it was like going through a withdrawal. Okay. Just everything I said earlier, I'm gonna just shorten it up. And then after I hit 6 months, it got a little easier. And then I went 8 months, 10 months. And by the time I hit a year, I was like, oh, okay, this is what it feels like to no longer be in the 40-hour work week program. You'll start seeing all the sales on the special day, just everything to catch debt slaves. It's just bananas once you come out of it. And then you'll realize all commercials are not for you. You'll first, because I remember when I was getting out of debt, commercials started to irritate me, right? It's just they really got bothersome. And then now that I'm out, I realized because commercials are no longer talking to me. That's why they're so irritating. Songs and dancing people and athletes doing stuff, and it just doesn't make any sense. It's just like, okay, why are you? Oh, you're not talking to me anymore. That's dumb. Even that, like, what's that, Progressive Insurance? Like the white lady, the real pale white lady they always do dancing and skits, and they've been doing that shit for years. It obviously works, and it has nothing to do with insurance. Nothing. All because debt slaves think it's funny. Hell, I'd be laughing at those commercials. I'm like, that's pretty funny, but I'm not buying no Progressive Insurance. because you did that commercial. The financial noise is so great in the matrix. When you become free, it's quiet. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Nick. That's what you guys got to understand. When you understand the psychological piece in capitalism, when you understand the financial world becomes quiet because you realize the majority of people that talk to you about stocks and financial things on YouTube, they're just regurgitating what they read on the internet. And they're just saying it to you in a different way. That's all. They're not saying anything. You don't know. Listen, you don't know if the person talking to you on that mic is in debt. If the person on the mic has a mortgage and believes they're a homeowner, they believe that they're investing in something while having a mortgage, they obviously don't know that there's a psychological part in capitalism, because you can't do that. But if they're doing it and you see that they have 1 million followers or subscribers, you're going to actually take their advice. That's what you're going to do without knowing anything. You might see their degrees on the wall in the back. You don't know if they still have student loan debt. Maybe every degree that you see on the wall behind them, they have a bill to match it. And they've been having that bill for the last 15 years. And then they're telling you how to invest. They haven't even invested in themselves. But they're going to sell it to you, and you're going to believe them because they have 1 million subscribers. Doesn't make any sense. Listen, put it this way. You know how quiet anything, first of all, YouTube, like say like this, YouTube is the biggest platform right now, right? So if you remove all the stuff outside of financials, YouTube world gets very quiet, okay? Now, if you remove all the people talking about money, but they're in personal debt, do you know how quiet YouTube would be? You know how quiet? Look and see how many subscribers I got. That's how quiet it would be. That's the example I'm trying to show you. That's how quiet. I got like what, 3,000 subscribers? Maybe 4, 3, I don't know. I haven't looked yet. That's how quiet it will get. But what you don't know, that's an advantage. Though that percentage of people on YouTube, they speak a different language. They speak a different financial language that all the other people don't know. They don't know the psychological part in capitalism. That is a different language. What's happening to you at work? What's up, Robert? Outside of debt matrix, stress is a choice. You sure? Yep, sure is. Glad I was able to catch the live today. I'm busy washing my beautiful, thick, natural hair. You do got a lot of hair. What a great way to spend my afternoon. Thank you for always coming back and sharing the message. You are welcome. Omanika says, I gotta wash my hair too. See what the SMD family do? They do whatever they want to do on their day off. It ain't got nothing to do with work. I'll tell you that. Nothing to do with work. Facts they get in 2 years. Facts get in 2 years if you can. Okay, the more years, the better. Yeah. The more it is, it's just when I was in the debt matrix, I remember hearing a couple things. I remember saying, who came up with the 40-hour work week? I remember saying that. And all the debt slaves all say the same thing. Somebody rich. Everybody says that. Somebody that has a lot of money. And instead of saying, well, let me figure out how to get a lot of money so I can be that too. They just say it and just go on with life. Just like, oh, okay, maybe it is a program. Like when you see people on social media brag about working overtime, they don't know what they're saying. They don't know they're saying, hey, look how much of the time in my life I sold for. And then tell everybody how much they're getting for it. Look how much I sold the time of my life for. Look, listen, minus taxes and whatever else comes out of their check. 401k repayments. Back like this, in your W-4, this is so crazy, right? I remember when I was a debt slave, right? I would look at my W-4, I think it's the W-4, whatever. I'm not a tax expert, but there's a box you can check to say, I want to be exempt from taking taxes out of my check. And I used to look at that box and I used to say to myself, huh, why would they put that box? Now, don't get me wrong. I know there's some kind of legal answer in there. Okay, don't quote me, but I'm sure for them putting it there. But I thought to myself, that's very dangerous for a debt slave to know that, because debt slaves already don't like taxes. Do you know how? Listen, and this is what's crazy. Do you know how many debt slaves check that box and then they forget? This is what they'll do. This is what debt slaves will do. They'll check that box and then see the they'll see a lot of money on the check because no taxes are being taken out. And you know what a debt slave will do? They will adjust their financial life to not taking taxes out of their check. And then when the IRS sends them the letter, hey, you owe this much, they're like, what? What are you talking about? Oh my God, I forgot to check the box back. Hmm. But I say to myself, why would it reminds me of this? What it reminds me of. It's made so easy, like PPP fraud. Okay. You don't really, okay. When you understand there's a psychological part in capitalism, you would never in a million years commit PPP fraud. Okay. You would not do that. Okay. Because you would automatically know by doing that, you're trading the time in your life for money. That's what you're doing. For the amount of money you stole, you're selling yourself for that. You're really selling yourself for the amount of money you stole. But when they made it so easy for a person to get like hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, it was so tempting that, I mean, debt slaves just couldn't resist. That's the same thing with that box. Why is it so easy for a person to do that? That just doesn't make any sense to me. But when you check that box, listen, and this is just my opinion, okay? I just want you guys to understand. This is my opinion. You check that box, knowing if you live in the United States of America, it's required by law that you pay taxes. If you check that box, you have just sold yourself. You have just sold yourself. Now, because only people that don't know would ever check that box. Even when I was a debt slave, I knew better to check that box. I'm like, I remember looking at that box. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. And I'm not going to check it because that doesn't make sense. I knew it was required by law to pay taxes, but why would I? No, I'm not checking that box. I don't care what situation I'm in. And the situation that causes you to check that box, guess what? It's caused by you. Car payments, brand new finance phone every single year, credit card payments, student loan payments. Those are the people that check that box. The people that don't know. Increase your income and find a place in life where you can enjoy yourself and be comfortable on a fraction of your income for sure. And don't think if I downgrade, I'll be living in the bad part of the city. And I'm a reiterate this. Once you find your peace, you won't live in a place that's going to mess with your peace. Okay, it doesn't matter. You're not going to. Oh, I'm going to live in this bad. No, it doesn't work like that. You'll find a place. I promise you. I've enjoyed becoming part of the SMD family and staying motivated these past 8 months. I can't ever get enough of the positive knowledge, motivation, and support. SMD for life. Thank you, Arlene. You are so welcome. Now let me put this link up here. if you just now come across my channel, you're like, who are you? And I've noticed what I've been noticing too. Not only are younger people starting to contact me, I'm starting to see more people from the UK, because I think more people from the UK are understanding it doesn't matter that they are the UK. If the UK is capitalist, it's the same thing, but just different. They have their own flavor of it. Like, put it this way, if I was to move, so you guys will understand that there's a psychological piece in all forms of capitalism. Okay. If I was to move to the UK, I would know that there's some kind of tax system where they grade you. The credit system, and then there's a tax system that's set up, and this and that. I would know because those pieces must be there, because the credit reports keep track of the debt slaves, and taxes do too. Taxes, that's why they force it. And I know the debt slaves are the currency. So if I moved there, I would just hire, I wouldn't even have to, I would just have to know that it's capitalist. And then I would hire a person who is personally debt free that understands the tax system in the UK. So say like I was ready to do a business. I would hire a business lawyer who is personally debt free to set my business up in the UK, because it doesn't matter. All those, the tax lawyer in the UK, long as they understand that there's a psychological piece in the capitalism, they'll do everything according to the UK tax laws. All the local tax city thing, however the stuff is set up, it really doesn't matter. It's just set up a certain way, and then they'll know it. I know they will. I will have to just communicate with them. Hey, you understand? We follow the laws and the rules everywhere, right? Because we know the psychological part of capitalism, correct? All right, there's nothing more to be said. This makes sense when Andre says the wealthy travel. The wealthy have multiple passports. That makes sense. I'm starting to think that where they travel all places that are capitalist. Because if it's capitalist, they have a psychological part. Every one of them do. Every single one of them. How do you feel about the system being designed to make us debt slaves, and they don't push our support beneficial valuable content like this? Because the system is not designed to do anything to anyone. That's also a program. Like, the system is doing something to you. It's not doing anything. It's just there. The system is positive and negative. If you choose not to believe the calculator, you're on the negative side of the system. So therefore, you think the system is doing something to you, but you're doing it to yourself. If you trust the calculator, you become on the positive side of the system, and then you'll see why the system why it's set up the way it's set up. You got to make sure you untrain yourself as if the system is doing something. Drug hour says, while I work at the bank right now, I can automatically spot when someone is in personal debt. That's a gift. That's the gift. And I want you to literally understand something, drug hours. They don't know that you can see them. Now, it's hard to translate this in your brain, but when you're doing this translation, you'll know that what I'm saying is mathematically true. So that means it is true. They don't know that you can see them. Debt slaves don't know you can't buy a house with a mortgage. They don't know mortgages buy people. They don't buy houses, they buy people. Can you imagine owning a person through a house for 30 years? Man. That's crazy. Be grateful for the system. The alternative is ugly. I believe that. I believe every word of that, Andre. As soon as you hear somebody, I'm talking about the financial system, because people, debt slaves, love to go off on tangents. That's why I got to make sure I'm specific with debt slaves. I'm talking about the financial system. When you hear somebody get emotional about the financial system, they're probably in debt, because there's no reason to add emotions to it. It doesn't mean it. It does. It's not a thing. I mean, it is a thing, but it's more of a psychological thing. It's not a physical thing. The system is psychological. The W-2 reports how much you earned from your employer as well as how much taxes was withheld. Okay, so the W-4 is the one where you can change it. Okay, got it. Tells you as the employer, the employee filing status, multiple jobs, adjustments, amount of credits, and amount of other income and deductions. And okay. See, they even let debt slaves mess around with that and say, oh, I'm claiming 9 or 10. I used to say to myself, these are things when I was a debt slave. I'm like, you mean you can go in there and just claim as many as you wish? Anytime you want? I was like, huh. Well, I'm not doing that. That's what I said. I'm just gonna claim the amount that I'm supposed to claim. I'm not gonna adjust with it, because I didn't really understand taxes back then the way I do today, right? But when I was a debt slave, I just knew not to check the box of don't take any taxes out and put any number. Hey, this is how many dependents you change. And I would look it up. I'm like, that don't have nothing to do with your dependents. Who's saying that? Then if that's the case, you can walk up and say, hey, I'm choosing 20 dependents. It's like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. Who's going to believe you? Your job? From each paycheck to use the commute and amount of federal income tax that deducted withhold from. Okay. I glanced at my pay stub the other day. I paid $64,000 in federal taxes this year. Wow. Now I understand when they say the highest, like when you hear Robert Kiyosaki, they always talk about the quadrants, right? The average person with a job is the most highly taxed, right? That quadrant are debt slaves. I want you guys to understand, that's you. You guys are selling. Not only are you taxed the highest, you're selling the most valuable commodity on earth, and that's the time in your life. You're selling that. And you're taxed the heaviest, because in the system, you are participating with yourself. You're using yourself. Instead of creating a successful business, you are participating in the system as yourself. And if you're doing that, you don't know that you are selling the most valuable commodity on earth, and that's the time in your life. You don't know that. When you drive by graveyards, right? You see how big they are. How many people in those graveyards you think ever knew that there was a psychological piece in capitalism? I guarantee you not many. But when you drive by a graveyard, that should tell you everybody's time is limited. That proves it. Graveyards prove it. Those people in the graveyards was once you walking around on earth, living, buying shit and driving cars and having jobs, and they was doing everything you're doing, and then their time ran out. If you go on thinking that retirement is an age and some kind of account is going to do it for you, and putting your money here in this account is going to triple and make sure I have enough to live, whatever. Hey, just go ahead and keep on being part of the program. Or you can come on the positive side and be part of the people supplying those policies and all that stuff to debt slaves that believe they're going to have some money at some kind of point in their life at the end. Everything's positive and negative. Everything. You can get on the positive side of it. That's the last time I checked that box. I was making minimum wage in high school in 1986. I look at people saving. I look at people saving and how much they got in their savings. It can give them some type of sense of where their mind is at. Yeah, it's true. It could. Big Daddy's government is going to get theirs. I'm not even mad. It's business. Yeah. You will like when you work, the reason why taxes feel bad because you are participating with yourself in the system. That's why it feels like that, because it's you, right? When you free yourself as the business of you, and then you're like, oh shit, that's the purpose of taxes. Okay. The reason why I hated them because I was them. Then you create a successful business, participate in the system correctly, which means paying your taxes properly, because first of all, you're no longer personally paying the taxes. The debt slaves are paying your taxes because they're buying your product. You're just collecting the taxes for the IRS and then you're passing it to them. That's it. You're just passing it to them. You don't get to keep it. That's the problem. People that don't own themselves, they already hate taxes, right? Because they don't own themselves. And then they get into business with the exact same mindset, thinking because they're running a business, they're paying taxes. They're supposed to be passing. That's the problem. They believe they're still paying when they're supposed to be passing. And then they start blaming the taxes. Oh, this is why I can't get ahead. The city keeps charging me this tax and that tax. No, it's you. Everybody says something about that hood. That's funny. I love the government. It's how I get paid. That's exactly. Each jurisdiction has its purpose. Exactly. Think freedoms a la carte. Trust me, it's better with the system. It's better. Trust me, it's better with the system than without, for sure. I 100% believe that. Anarchy isn't a fun way to spend your time. You really do. I want you guys to understand. You really do understand why everything is in place when you get out of debt. You understand the local city taxes. You understand the state taxes, and then you understand the federal tax. You're like, oh, okay, all right. So you do like when you, at the local level, it's more like on the trusting side, right? It's like, hey, you tell us what you made, this and that, and blah blah blah, and we subtract that, and that's how we like. If you're selling all over the United States, okay, say like you're selling all over the United States, you got to understand what's called economic nexus, right? So if you start selling a lot in a particular state, they have a threshold, and then you got to start signing up for the local. Anyway, it's more of like, okay, you tell us, you can amend it anytime you want, blah blah blah. But when it comes to the federal level, those numbers better add up. The numbers that you've been telling your local people, they better add up to what you're telling the federal. That's all. That's all I'm saying. It better add up. Because I was like, damn, this is like the trusting area down here. You could just put, yeah, you could do that if you want to. You go find out later, though. It's the same here in the UK. Everything you teach applies here. I don't know a single person who is debt-free. Everyone is in competition with each other to have the nicest car, biggest house. Exactly, because it's capitalist. This is what I want people here in the US, in the UK. The paper money in our countries, it really doesn't matter what it is, who's on it, whatever. Like when you see what the paper says to me, it says who's running shit. That's what it says to me. Okay, that's what it says. If your face is on money, okay, those people, I guess they're important. But as far as debt slaves, they are the currency. It's them. The paper money in the country really doesn't matter. It doesn't. That's why when you understand how it works, you don't break any financial laws, because if you cheat on your taxes, you're really cheating on yourself. Not only is it against the law, I'm just saying, but you're really cheating on yourself. Debt slaves are here. Debt slaves are in the UK. They don't know. They don't know they don't own houses with mortgages. Now I get why casinos companies are making bank. Exactly. Selling people dreams. Casinos are killing the game. They are killing the game, killing it. You stay cursing me out in SMD language. I hear you, LJ. Anyway, I guess I'm going to wrap this up. This was just a quick one. You guys have a wonderful Sunday. It's always my pleasure talking to you guys. Thank you, everybody. Until next time, see you later.